This is Benny, and he's a year old. So first off, I'm not going to let him charge in through the gate ahead of me. So I did swat him a little bit with the end of my lead and said, hey. And when he planted all 4 feet and stood still, then I called him through. When we came through the gate, I also gave him a hey until he paid attention to me, and then I can continue on with what I'm doing. So right now, I'm just trying to get him on my level with communication. So there are stock that he can see, but there are no stock in the pen with us. My communication, whenever I hay the dog or apply pressure to the dog, I really want them to stop all forward movement, maybe give a little ground to me depending on what's going on or how much pressure I'm having to put on them, and I want them to stop and look to me for direction. So first of all, what I'm doing is I'm giving him about 6 to 8 feet of lead, and I'm just walking around. I have not asked him to do anything. I'm trying to get into his head a little bit. So when he starts to pay attention to me, he's walking behind me or slightly beside me but not in front of me, then I can praise him and tell him what a good dog he is. If he is lagging behind or he's trying to forge ahead, I'm just going to change directions and let him hit the end of the lead and give himself a correction. So this dog already knows sit and down, so I have asked him to down and he got up. So now I'm applying pressure, and I don't want him to advance on me. So see what he's doing every time he comes forward at me, I'm applying more pressure, and then when he goes back in the down, I release the pressure. So apply pressure, and hey, you hear my hey there, that's my word. When he goes into his down, I can release the pressure. So when he advances, he stands up, he advances on me, I'm going to apply the pressure again until I get the result that I need. And applying pressure means you apply pressure until the dog complies. So I'm going to use the lead here and just step on it until he goes back into his down. Mainly because I don't have anything in my hand that I could apply more pressure with. Some dogs are not sensitive to body pressure at all. So I did call him to me there. I'm going to reward him a little bit with some pets and things. He may not care about that at this point, and that's fine. So do a little more walking around and bring him over here. So same thing, I just want him behind me or beside me and paying attention to where I'm going. So when he loses interest or he starts to sniff around, I'm going to change direction really quickly, and then he'll probably hit the end of the lead. So I call him to me, I ask him to down. He gets up without being asked, so I'm going to apply pressure. And I'm kind of swinging the lead in his face a little bit. Just kind of like, hey, you get off of me, you get out of my pressure. If I'm applying this pressure to you, you need to listen and you need to do what was asked of you. So the reason I ask him to down is because there are no livestock in here, so he's not giving to pressure on livestock. He's just doing basic obedience commands that he already knows, and then if he disobeys the command, I'm teaching him that the response from me will be that I'm going to apply pressure. And when I apply pressure, he needs to go back into that last thing that I ask him to do, and then the pressure will be released. So I'm pretty sure all of his obedience was taught with treats. That's great, that's fine. But at some point when you go to work, there will be no treats, and so the dog has to learn this new language. And the language is pressure and release. You're going to apply pressure to the dog whenever you either need them to get out, get off the stalk, change direction, any number of things that you're going to need the dog to do. You're going to apply pressure, and then the reward is the release of pressure and allowing them to work again. The communication part for me is that when I give the hey, I really want the dog to stop and look at me or stop what they're doing, and then I can redirect them from there instead of having to give them a verbal correction and then ask them to stop and then redirect them. I can just use my words, my hey. So this is all just the same stuff over and over again until he kind of understands pressure and release, and he understands my communication, and then we go to stalk after that.